Trump, by the way, and we shouldn't gloss over this, he started the morning with the threat of ending Iran's civilization and ended the day without any clarity on any of the things that Scott just pointed out, and especially the thing that presumptively we went into this war to get control over, which is the nuclear program.
Pretty insane jump, right? From destroying civilization to seemingly using their 10-point maximalist plan as a baseline, right? And those are the kind of, just to your point, I really want to understand exactly what's been agreed to behind the scenes here. And if tolling is what's been agreed to, allowing Iran to actually charge a toll for ships to pass through, that would be actually a step backward for our country and for global passage of 20% of the world's oil and gas. That's a huge problem. And you add to that, and I'd like to really understand where we are on the uranium side, and I think the nuclear piece is very, very important. Where are we on the terror program, what's been agreed to there, and of course, what's happened on the ballistic side, and kind of what progress have we made? And I think that's a very important thing to understand. Well, hopefully we'll hear from the president.
Well, the Strait was not even an issue at the start of this war. The Strait was open, and now that becomes, the closing of the Strait was a result of this war. And now that becomes the key to renegotiating with the Iranians. How did that become the key issue? That was never the key issue before the war began. We've now showed the Iranians, and they in turn have showed the rest of the world, that they have the ability to put their hands on the neck of the global economy. And once that has been seen, it can't be unseen. Once that, insert your cliche here.
You don't think they realized
they had never done it in all these years?
You don't think they knew it was sitting there?
And it's a big difference between knowing it and demonstrating it now. Everybody in the world knows it. Trillions of dollars of the global economy depend on it. It's not enough to say that it was always going to be this way. It was not going to be this way on the 27th of last month. It's become this way because of this war.
But to me, this is still secondary.
And just to be clear, this 2-week period in which there will be presumptively a stop to the bombing, Iran says that their military is going to control the Strait of Hormuz. So they are still going to use, to your point, the threat of force to allow whoever they want to come through that passage.
When was the last time we discussed the Iranians using military force to patrol the Strait of Hormuz? That was not on the table, to your point, before Donald Trump decided to do this. And of course, reporting is coming out about all of the myriad of reasons why he shouldn't have done this and how he was warned not to do this. And then there were those this is what happens when you don't have people who are experts, who are adults in the room making these decisions, unfortunately. This is what happens. They didn't anticipate this part. They went, wait a minute. The Strait of Hormuz controls all of this rite of passage for oil, for petrochemicals. Oh my gosh, our farmers are now freaking out because before they were suffering from tariffs and going bankrupt. Now it's planting season and they can't get their fertilizer. And then, oh my gosh, oil is going through the roof per barrel. And the American people were paying $2.50 a gallon. Now they're paying $4.15, sometimes $7, depending on where you live, since Donald Trump did this. We need to ask a question. How is this making America great again? If it was all about the nuclear program, which I agree with you, Scott, on, that was something that was very important. We haven't heard anything about that. If it was all about the ballistic missile program, we haven't heard anything about that in weeks. If this has all been about the Strait of Hormuz because Donald Trump has created chaos and instability and upset our allies and almost broke up NATO over all of this, and you can't undo the damage that he's already done. We cannot just gloss over the fact that the President of the United States threatened genocide against a civilization because he threw a temper tantrum this morning because he wasn't getting his own way. There should be consequences for that kind of flippant language. That's not something we should just gloss over.
We'll get to that.